This podcast is a proud member of the Unidentified Network.
So now, ladies and gentlemen, live and in colour, it's Mr. Wayne Lovejuice.
The other day I produced a Louis, had a chat with an interesting chappie who said that the YouTube algorithms really aren't that happy. If a channel only broadcasts once a week, so we decided we could Xtra. Whenever we've got a piece of news in our new book on the track Xtra. Now, before we go any further, I do want to apologise. We are very aware that in the last few episodes, and probably in this episode, there are glitches and there are bits when the sound goes out of sync with the pictures. We are doing our best to fix this. Let me tell you what happened. I updated the software that we use for recording at the same time as Windows 10 did an update. And ever since then, either it is the software that we're using to record or the software we're using to edit isn't working properly. Louis and I are doing our best to fix it. But we've made the decision that any show is better than no show at all, and so we've decided to carry on rather than go on indefinite hiatus while we try to resolve the problems. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name's John Downs, and this is Isabel, Miss Isabel, the lovely Miss Isabel.
Hello.
See, she can speak as well as being beautiful. She and I are going to go through a roundup of various odds and sods this episode, because we have all sorts of things to tell you which are updates on things that happened previously in the show, or are things that are too short to do a show with. And so we're going to start at the beginning and stop at about the 15-minute mark, and probably do the same again next week. So, On the Track Xtra, as you probably all know, is a show which comes out every Wednesday evening for about 15 minutes. It's an adjunct to the main show On the Track, which comes out on Saturday afternoons, and which is a mishmash, a melange, a mixture, and all the things that dear Lauren tells me begins with M, of hard science, weird shit, and surreality. Now, we all know what surreality is, don't we, Miss Isabel?
We do. I think it involves fishing on clouds again.
Yes, I think it probably does. And so, we're not going to go into a lecture about surreality today, but what we are going to show you, a few weeks ago we did a show about surviving Pine Martens in the West Country, and most specifically in Devonshire. And I told you about a piece of footage that had recently been taken in Clovelly, which is the village next to where I live. But we couldn't show you the video for various reasons, which I won't bore you with. But now we can. what do they say on the show? Roll VT. It's only 6 seconds long, but if we slow it down a bit, you can see that it is definitely a Pine Marten, not just from the fluid way that it moves, which is unlike any other mustelid, but from the diagnostic tan-coloured bib on its chest. I would have loved it if the bib had been white, because that is diagnostic of a closely related species, the beech marten or stone marten, or marten cat, which until the late 19th century was thought to be a common resident of this country. But a bloke called Edward Alston wrote this article called On the Specific Identity of the British Marten, and basically lumped all the martens in Britain together as one species instead of two. I personally think he was mistaken, and I have been looking for evidence that the beech marten or stone marten or marten cat has existed in these islands and may well still exist. And that's another one of those things that I want to be able to find out before I retire, so I can once again cock a snook and make rude faces at the mammal experts in Britain who've all told me for years that I'm a bloody idiot. I have created a monster. A few months ago I bought 2 giant African land snails as pets for Miss Guinevere's 2 little boys. And they settled in nicely. The snails, I mean, not the little boys.
This is Sally and Stanley. This is Sally here. She's a long girl. She's about 12 centimetres. They like their protein porridge. They've nibbled on their tomatoes and their kale. They need to have fresh stuff as well tonight. And then the other guy is actually down here in the corner. Just down in here. Hiding.
And, much to my chagrin and mild embarrassment, they laid eggs. Now, instead of having 2 giant African land snails, they have 407.
Got nice new growth on there. There's lots of albino ones that I'm quite fond of. These are the big guys. Then we got this second clutch that has just hatched. We hatched on the 16th of September. So there's still some eggs in there. I need to go through there and remove all of the eggs that didn't hatch. They're loving the kale. Let's see if I can focus. There we go. I don't think anybody's walking around at the moment. Oh, there's one little guy walking around. See if I can focus on him. There he is. So these are just babies.
Because she also saw an advert from a lady who had 5 more African land snails that she wanted to rehome. So, despite the fact she had 400 of them, munching her out of house and home, back in her little house in Exeter, she went out and rescued these other 5. So there are now 407.
This is the 5 guys that we rescued the other day.
We missed you.
Yeah, say hi. Hi, Snaily Snails.
Hi, Snails. Hi, like a melon.
Yeah, we've got some dried calci worms. We've got apple and we've got plum. Bit of sweet corn, cuttlefish.
But it gets worse. I made the great mistake of introducing her to the entomological livestock list. And she bought a packet, or whatever they come in, of Atlas moth eggs, which had already hatched out into tiny caterpillars by the time she received them. And now look at them. She has videoed their progress over the months, and there's a very interesting twist in the tale. Check this out. No, I forgot I should say roll VT.
Okay, so this is a couple of the Atlas moth caterpillars. You can see how big they are. That's my thumb.
Dad, to my
And if we compare it to Dr. Mohammed's thumb, there we go. Quite big.
Quite big.
And I like that the little red circle they've got on their bum there.
Yeah.
I think that's really cool. And they've got these black, don't know what they are. I need to research this and find out what they are. This
Antennas thing.
They probably are antennas. And he's got his little legs.
Little legs.
On the side, his little black legs there.
Little black legs.
And then if we look on the side of this one, you see he's got his little chubby legs.
Yeah, he went on this.
These are all the technical terms, you understand?
Yeah.
Chubby legs.
Or the
Black legs. And the black sticky things on the front.
Black sticky things on
And then I don't know what all the spikes are about. I guess they're a warning to predators to say, don't eat me, I'm spiky. So yeah. These two guys live on their own in a tub because they're all getting quite big now.
Yeah.
And so I'll show you, we change this twice a day. We give them fresh kitchen tissue.
Yeah.
We get rid of all their poop. And something quite cool in here I've just spotted. He's, one of them is shed. They shed his eyes. There, that's his little face. So that's very cool.
I want to see.
I just wanted to show you these little faces.
I was
faces
sharing
that
it
are
with
shed.
Uncle John.
Yes, we are. We're going to send this to Uncle John. Okay. Do you think that's cool?
Yeah.
See their little faces?
Yeah. Can I
Just
pick
got-
them up?
They're too big for me. Yep, I can give them to you. 2 secs.
And by this time you could see that Miss Guinevere is well and truly hooked on being an exotic invertebrate keeper. I can't point any fingers. I've been hooked on it since I was about 6 years old. And I'm glad to see that young Dr. Mohammed, he insists on being called Dr. Mohammed ever since he got a doctor outfit to dress up in. Young Dr. Mohammed is rapidly, at the age of 3, nearly 4, becoming hooked on the subject as well. And as you can see, the caterpillars got larger.
We've got something like 16 Atlas moth caterpillars in various tubs because they're getting too big to all live in one tub together. That's a tomato moth. But he likes the hedge leaves as well, so that's handy. Because these guys are eating me out of house and home. Right, so these guys, I'd say it was probably this guy has shed recently because he's a bit lighter colour, so he's a bit more of a bluey colour and he doesn't have so much wax on him. So look at this guy, he's got powdery.
I'm going to measure him.
Okay, we'll measure him in just a minute, okay? But this guy doesn't have quite so much wax on him. So I'd say this shed skin, I'll just grab it out, belongs to him. So if you look there, look, you're going to measure the shed skin. You see, can you see all that? See right at the bottom it's got like the little red bits on the skin here on my finger. It's got the red bit at the bottom that I pointed out on his tail. And then see the black spiky bits?
Yeah.
Those were his front legs. So this is the skin that he's shed. So he's taking it off like a coat. Yeah? So he's taking it off like a jacket, like when you take your coat off when you come inside. Yeah? Because that means he's getting bigger. So
I'm
I'll
going
take
to
that
measure
one out.
those guys.
I think it was probably this guy here. That's just my uneducated guess. So we'll get one out in a second and we'll give them a measure and we'll see. I'll find the biggest ones and we'll give them a measure. Okay, so these are our chunkiest guys.
The chunkiest guys. They got some water.
Yeah, we've just very finely sprayed them with some water. So can I borrow your ruler a second?
Ruler?
I'm going to get as close as I can to it. It might be better to just do it overhead like that.
Hello? Speaking over?
So from where I'm looking, he's 40 millimeters.
40 millimeters? What?
Yeah, maybe a tiny bit over, maybe about 42 millimeters.
What?
So
Oh
I
no.
think they're supposed to get about twice that.
Oh, what tries doing?
Dr. Mohammed's on the phone to his construction crew.
There is a... See you later.
See you later. See you later.
And by the time they were fully grown, they were very impressive size indeed.
Where are you going? Come on, you, back in the tank.
And then, eventually, they started to pupate.
I never said they were intelligent, but they are pretty.
The caterpillars spin silk, which they use to make their cocoons, and it is this silk which is actually used to make the fabric silk from several different species of silk moth. As far as I know, they don't make silk from Atlas moths, but there's no reason they shouldn't. So, the caterpillars all became cocoons, but stop. One didn't, and something happened that I have never heard about before in all my years of keeping silk moths.
So this guy here is confusing me. He started to make silk in with the other cocoons that I had. And he seemed to be struggling to get the shape right or wrap himself up. He's just been making these little clumps of silk like this, just little balls of silk, and he couldn't form anything properly, like he didn't know how to do it. So I thought, okay, I'll leave him in and just let him get on with it or not get on with it. Put some leaves in with him, and 3 days later he's just laying on his side like this, and I thought, okay, he's died, he's run out of energy, he's given up. And so I picked him up and he started moving, so I thought, oh, okay, he's still alive. And ever the optimist, I put some more leaves in with him and thought he's got two choices. He'll either eat the leaves and rally and make himself a nice little cocoon, and that'll be that, or he'll die, and that'll be that. But he's making these movements that I'm familiar with when you pick up a chrysalis, and sometimes they flick their tail like they're trying to get you off, like you're a predator and they're trying to get you off of them, but they're in a cocoon, so they're doing their best. But he's doing these movements, and it's almost as if he thinks he's in a cocoon, and it's very strange, and I don't know if I'm just making it up or if this actually is a thing or not, but this is what he does. He just thrashes himself about. So he's obviously still alive, but he's just thrashing himself about. And I don't know if these are just last ditch energy death throes, or if he's in some kind of weird state that he thinks he's in a cocoon and he's just defending himself. In which case, is he going to turn to soup and try and turn into a moth without a cocoon around him? And I don't know what to do now. I've kept him in here, and I need to clean these guys out again and get them fresh leaves again, because you can see they're still munching away. This is the one from yesterday. He's finished making his little nest now, so I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I've got 7 left. 7 and 4 chrysalis cocoons, chrysalis, and this weird guy that I don't know what to do with. Help! I don't know what to do with him.
I'd never heard of this. This is something completely beyond my experience. So Gwyn was very sensible, and she went on to a specialist silk moth breeders forum on Facebook, and somebody wrote back saying he's given up or run out of time to spin a cocoon and has passed into the pre-pupal stage. It happens now and then. Either put it on a bed of soft tissue paper and it should pupate okay, or if you have an empty Atlas cocoon handy, just drop it into it and let him get on with it. Both have worked for me in the past with assorted moths. Well, she has done exactly that. And we're waiting now to see what is going to happen next. You better watch this space, because not only have I run out of time, but that's the end of the story for now. It will be continued in the future, I assure you. I said at the beginning of this episode that we were going to do a whole string of different things. It turned out that we did 2, but what a 2 they are. Well done, Miss Guinevere, for all you have done for your invertebrate friends, and thank you very much to Susie Marsh for getting me the video of the Pine Marten in Clovelly. I'll be back on Saturday. What are we doing on Saturday? Well, it's the next part of Richard Freeman and Alan Freeman, no relations, bottom 10 cryptids, the cryptids least likely to exist. And I think there's going to be all sorts of fun and games as a result of them. So, I'll be seeing you.